Are you working for this large organization and you've seen a fantastic opportunity in an SME? Now, you need to be very careful. Why? Because in my experience, professionals, managers who transition from large organization to SMEs rarely make it within 6 months. Most of them, unfortunately, don't end up surviving in their jobs. It's been a practice. And today I'll share with you some of the reasons why these high-performing professionals don't make it. And I interact with a lot of them, and they get surprised that, Paminas, I've had this 15, 20 years career working for this multinational or this large organization. But the last 3-4 months, it's been really tough for me trying to deliver the same results in an SME. Now, in my observation, a lot of times it doesn't have to do with your capability. It doesn't have to do with your skills. It's just how the SMEs and the medium-sized firms are structured. And more so if we are reporting to an owner-managed business. You need to be very careful. So this is what I would say are the downsides when it comes to SMEs, when it comes to medium-sized firms that are owner-managed. And if you are a professional, a senior professional at that, looking for the next opportunity in an SME, you shouldn't ignore this. Or as they say, do this at your own risk. So one of the downside of working for an SME is lack of structures. If you're coming from a large organization, they've invested in structures. So you'll find there's a marketing department, you'll find there's a finance department, there's a HR department, there's someone taking care of operations. If you're heading a department, you're the manager, there are supervisors, and then you have the subordinates. However, when it comes to SMEs, what do we see? There are no structures. So today you're doing one thing, tomorrow you're asked to do this other thing. Why? Because chances are even the business owner, even the directors of the business, they're also trying to learn. They're also trying to find their way. So lack of structure slows things down. You find things move very slow. So as opposed to a large organization where they have the resources, they know how to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With a lack of structures in an SME, then you find that things definitely take a lot of time. And this, it can really be frustrating, especially for you as a senior professional, coming from a place where you're used to things happening, things moving. You need to be also careful when it comes to working for an SME, because if you don't get along with one person, be ready for uncomfortable times ahead. Now, for a large organization, here you could be 200 or 300 of you. So what if you don't get along with the procurement manager? So what if you don't see eye to eye with one of the directors? If the board of directors are 15, then you see there's still 14 of them to interact. But if it's an SME, you're not getting along with your immediate boss, it could be the CEO or it could be the director, then you see how uncomfortable it can be. The other bit you need to know about SMEs is the extra workload. There's a high probability of you doing things which are outside your job scope. Why? Remember my first point, lack of structures. It's now the extra workload comes with lack of structures. And if there's one profession where I know this is really a big issue, is the sales and marketing. So you'll find you are hired as a sales manager, but this organization needs you to be a digital marketer. They need you to perform marketing roles. They need you to be in events. They need you to be even in stakeholder engagement. So at the end of the day, you find there's so much to do. And yet the reality is we are only gifted to a certain extent. You're only skilled in 1 or 2 things. So you find if someone asks you, what have you done the last 6 months? Unfortunately, there's nothing to show. Not because you haven't been active, not because you've been running, you haven't been busy. But the reality could be that you are running around doing things which are not adding value to your department or the organization. Another shortcoming when it comes to working for the medium-sized and the small organization is lack of professionalism, especially from the top level. It could be the business owners or the directors. And here, professionalism, I mean your voice being heard, your ideas being implemented, you being sought, your opinion being sought. Now, for large organizations, there are processes that ensure that every person's voice is heard. So you'll find their meetings, their board meetings where decisions are made, their discussions. But most of the time, especially when the going gets tough, when it comes to SMEs and the medium-sized organization, you'll find it's one person making a decision. So you wake up one day and you find, if you are the chief accountant, a check has been written and your opinion was not sought, or an investment has been made and again, no one discussed this with you. So one of the biggest frustrations is getting the directors to appreciate that you're a professional, that you have ideas. And I've seen this happen more so when it comes to the young entrepreneurs. You know, nowadays you're finding young people are starting companies when they are very young. And unfortunately, you find they don't want to hear other people's opinions. Simply because they have money, they imagine that all you need to run a successful business is money. So if you come, let's say you're a HR person, you're a HR manager, and they're not happy with a member of staff, I've had instances where the HR is being told, oh, I don't want to see so-and-so from today. And yet, the director or the CEO doesn't want to follow the due process. You will never see this happening in a large organization. Large organizations, they respect systems and processes. And I feel the SMEs and the medium-sized firms, we have a long way to go when it comes to following systems, processes, and taking into account the professional's advice. So if you're being interviewed by an SME, I would say during an interview, be bold enough and to ask the directors, the CEO, if we differ with you, how will you handle such a situation? The answer will really give you into insight into their management style and what will happen if they disagree with you. Are they going to listen to you? Are you still going to have a professional working relationship? Or it's their way or the highway. And lastly, when it comes to SMEs, the medium-sized firms, then growth is not assured. And growth can sometimes be very slow. So if you're thinking about high compensation, benefits, then I would say you need to rethink about your decision. And sometimes we don't even fault these SMEs. It's because of where they are. The reality is, if the company is not doing so well, they're also struggling to make it in this market, then they may not be able to pay you as much as the large organization. With those pointers, then, I'm sure if you are looking to transition from this large organization to a small company, then you'll be able to make an informed decision. Know that you most likely be in a place where there are no structures. Also get to understand that unlike a large organization where there's office politics, with a small organization, if you have a fallout with one person, that can greatly affect your work. Also, don't just go there thinking that you only do a task which are within your job scope. Chances are now and then you'll be asked to do things which are outside of your job scope, something that you'll not find with the large organization. And lastly, when it comes to growth, whether it is in terms of more compensation, whether it's in the terms of benefits, then you need to go slow. You have to manage your expectation. But as I always say, it all depends on what you're looking for. The applause for working for a large organization, the applause for working for small companies. It all depends with you and what you want to achieve.